Welcome everybody to Nine's Corner. I am Nine. It is so nice to meet you, and if you're returning, welcome back, my dear friends. So, did you go out and buy Kellyanne Conway's book? Come on now, she's here to make the deal. Oh my God. I watched her read a little excerpt out of it where it was basically a prayer and she ends it with amen, and I thought, oh my, how dare she speak so. It drives me insane when people use God and religion as the premise for their basis for their thought process, especially when it comes to something that has to do with politics, such as Kellyanne. And interestingly enough, she did come out and she was very angry about Jared Kushner. And I thought, ding, ding, ding. She's like, completely in with Trump. So, of course, she's going to be against Jared Kushner, who recently went in and had a long conversation with the January 6th committee. And she was also throwing her husband under the bus. So I'm thinking, okay, one, Kellyanne, what is your daddy issues with Trump? Two, what are you thinking when it comes to your husband? That's your husband. So I just thought, you know what, let's just dive right into Kellyanne Conway and see what is actually up with her. I have questions. We need answers. So let's have a look at Kellyanne Conway and see how's this book going to turn out. Let's see, Kellyanne Conway. What is happening with your book deal? What's happening with your husband? What's your, as far as I'm concerned, daddy issues to do with Donald Trump? We're just going to lay it all out there, guys. Who cares? Let's just be real. Well, the world here, she is showing that she is obsessed with the past. She wants to be successful in her businesses, in her ventures. She wants to be able to speak her truth, or her, what did she call them? Alternate facts. And she wants to do it on a world stage. Here we go. What's going against her is that she's trying to weigh out two situations. I'm sure that has to do with the business and the family. I got a feeling in this case we're going to see that it's the family that usually takes the back seat to the career. Underneath it all, golly, I do not want to see her coming back. I really do not want to hear her. If CNN puts her back on, I'll just boycott CNN completely. She has a want to do this. She wants to speak her mind. She wants to, it's almost like she's taken this back step for a while, and now she wants to say, hey world, I'm here and I'm ready to move on. In the past, it shows that she walked away for a while. She needed to take a break, and a break she did take. She thought she would be giving time to get over any issues or problems, but your problems come with you, your words come with you, what you did comes with you, because she was a major supporter of Trump and still is. Major Trump issues there. On top of it, you would think that I would say, oh, look, on top of it, she's thinking about her family, but she's not. She's thinking about the Republican Party. She's thinking about how she can do her utmost for Trump. And I strongly feel from these cards that this is a case of her almost doing this with the intention of putting Jared Kushner down. I'm sure she obviously put her husband down, but I'd say there's going to be more coming out. And this has to do with her sick love of Trump and this representation of the Republican Party, that they're the family. I mean, I even heard her on the news, and it's just, guys, I can't take it if she comes back and she's a prominent person, because she's like something that just crawled out of a grave. The energy off her and everything. Here she is. She's Kellyanne Conway. And she's going to be speaking her truth and saying her words. And she thinks that she's smarter than everybody. And she thinks that she can, use her sword, her words to wield her, lies into action when that's all it is. Lies. She's gonna come back out and be that mouthy. She's just returning. Oh, I think underneath this is, everybody keeps saying, oh, I wonder how her and her husband make it and how they're still together. And there's all these question marks about them. I don't think there's anywhere to question. I don't think there's any relationship here to be had. I think it's ended. I think that they have some kind of arrangement that, that works for both of them in the meantime. I think that she took some time off and she lost herself. She feels like she needs to come back out on that world stage so she can make everybody be aware, like, I'm here. People are looking at her coming out, like, basically trying to make money off her book. They're looking at her going, okay, here we go, another apologist for Trump while trying to peddle it and make money off it. Yeah, she thinks she's coming out with this, great book that's going to be like changing everybody's mind about everything. It's just Kellyanne Conway. But, she's the page here. She's not, she's got something to say, but I don't suppose anybody's listening. Well, there is a section of people that are listening, but dear God in heaven above, even them got to have a threshold of enough when it comes to this kind of BS person, right? Ooh, Kellyanne Conway, judgment. Lawyer up, Kellyanne Conway. I think you're going to have some legal issues coming your way, my darling. We've got judgment here. You are going to be judged and judged harshly. There's going to be information coming up about her from the past that's going to be used to judge her in the moment. Resurrection. Maybe she's trying to resurrect herself and her career or whatever it is that she does. I don't know. Interesting. Let's just ask. I want to know specifically, what are her Trump issues? Why does she... We have to ask one more question because I can't wrap my head around the idea why Kellyanne follows Donald Trump like she's the trumpeter for him. She's the one that's playing and, the Pied Piper. Like, for whatever reason, to the point where she throws her husband under the bus. There's an issue there. I just want to know, what was her relationship? You saw that, didn't you? 2 cards just threw out. The Fool. Oh my. Okay, those 3 cards just fell out of my hand. You saw them. To me, the Fool is Kellyanne. She is willing to use her intelligence for an unintelligible man. Somehow, some way, he gives her a feeling of being more than she is. And he came along at a time in her life when she needed somebody to balance out the negativity that was in her life. So I think she had a crush on him. I think he played that up. Ew. Okay, I'm gonna say it. With the temperance coming out here, it's almost like there was like some kind of chemical reaction between the two of them. Ew, ew, ew. Sorry, guys. I think that they had a flirtation, that they had something really hot and heavy happening between them. They flirted, and she soaked it up. Mm. Oh, okay. I didn't need to know that, but now we do. Now we do. So let's have a look at Giuliani, who did 9 hours of testimony in front of the January 6th committee. I'm wondering, did anything of any importance happen there? Because don't forget, remember when they tried to do his deposition before, he had basically said that, he was acting, sometimes as the lawyer, and that he didn't look into the credibility of whether or not there was any illegalities. He just did what he needed to do. Like, he rushed into it. So I don't know if he's going to plead some kind of ignorance, or, you know what I mean? I'm not quite sure. So let's just have a look and see what comes up in the tarot cards. He did do 9 hours. That's a long time. So let's have a look. Oh, right out of the gate, he's there having to try to defend himself. He got beat up, but he thinks he managed to make his way through it. There was a lot of barbs at him, a lot of information that they were trying to find out from him. What went against him is his inability not to act. He can't help himself. He sees himself as this hero, as this great politician that everybody should revere. So he sees himself so much greater, and he that's how he wants to act. Underneath it all, we've got the Ten of Cups. So I think, again, just like with Kellyanne, when I see the Ten of Cups here, it's referencing doing all you can for the Republican Party, doing all you can for the Trumpsters and the Trump family. I think that because this card's here, because I'm with the Judgment card for Kellyanne, I got a feeling she's going to get sucked into this somehow, some way, because she can't use her mouth the way she does and not get in trouble. So I'm wondering if Giuliani opened up the door to that, because he's definitely talking about the Republicans. In the past, he was able to give the illusion of being really good and like almost like a martyr, but he had a secret. And I think he was trying to do things behind the scenes secretly. So I think he's going to be much more involved than we even realize when it comes to what's been going on with Donald Trump. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. This is all to do with money. And this is like generational money. So this is not like, we're trying to make, an extra few thousand or something. This is like big time, huge deals with a lot of money and going outside of the US. He's involved in so much. Like he's involved with all of it. So I got a feeling that he somehow downplayed himself, made himself look smaller, made it seem as though like, I don't know what you're talking about. That has nothing to do with me. Because this character is wearing clothes that's way too big for him. So it's like, I truly think it's a case where he comes off almost like pleading ignorance, like he just did not know. Like, you know what I mean? Like he half-assed his job, or that was somebody else's responsibility. I thought, whoever had done their job so that I could do my job. It's like he pushes the blame and the fault off to everybody else, and He's not to blame or responsible for any of it. He wants to walk away from this. He wants to get away from this, and it looks as though there could be information that they got from him because he wanted to just get out of the situation that he found himself in. So walking away from everything that you built up, like he turned his back on the success that he had built for himself. And he turned his back on it. People are just, they regret and they feel sorry for him. You know, they feel as though he's done so much to hurt himself, hurt his reputation, to hurt what, you know, his past pride that he should have about 9/11, that he's destroyed that. He does have the ability to redeem himself, and I do think people are trying to say, hey, you know, Rudy, we're at the end, let's go, you should tell something. And I do think that even if he didn't tell everything in this scenario, he still has at least 2 bits of information that he hasn't give up yet. There's 2 things that they wanted to know that he hasn't give up yet. So they're not finished with him. Something's, ooh. Yikes. Giuliani, are you sick? Is there something wrong? Because you're going to be going through some kind of major transformation. I didn't get a good feeling when I flipped that card just then. Ooh. Three of Cups. Healing. Maybe he's going to have some kind of issue, health issue. Or he has some kind of health issue, but he's getting care for it. Guys. He's all over the place. I don't think that he's right mentally. And it's not even like he's trying to put on a game. I actually think he's mentally disturbed. I'm not going to be shocked if we find out about some kind of illness here. And it doesn't have to be just physical. This could be like he has something, Alzheimer's, or something that affects his brain function. But there's some kind of transformation that's happening to him, specifically to him, to his life, that's going to affect him. There will be some healing, but this is all over the place. A tower, something that will not just affect his life, but change his life forever, and then having to defend himself. So I got a feeling here that we're going to see sooner rather than later Giuliani getting sick and having to take care of himself. And it's almost like between illness and sickness, things are going to fall apart on him. I don't see justice here, but I do see illness. I feel as though they're going to be able to say, you know, he's just got some kind of dementia or something that's affecting him. There's definitely a life-altering event that's happening to him. Interesting. How do we say that? Well, Giuliani, there you go. So next we're going to look at Lauren Boebart. Lauren Boebart. I did a little research on her because, you know, she's trying to remove her social media footprint about, you know, believing in and putting forth the replacement theory. So I thought, let's have a look at her, see what's happening with her. And I found it really interesting that, because I wanted to see, like, what was her education, like, who exactly is this person? And I find out she didn't finish high school. She got pregnant in the last year of high school. She got her GED in 2020. Then she went on and she was like a supervisor at McDonald's. Then she got a job with a gas fitting pipeline type of deal. And her husband had opened up a restaurant. It was called the Shooting Gallery, I think it was. What was it? The Shooter's Grill. Not Shooting Gallery, Shooter's Grill. They have like this policy of please come in and be free to carry your guns and stuff. So anywho, and I know I saw a story that back in 2017 that they had serviced a fair of some sort and over 80 people had gotten food poisoning from their pork sandwiches or something. So I'm just looking at her qualifications and I'm not seeing too many there except for being this gun-toting, smiling, exaggerating liar who really, when pressed, really does not know. So let's have a look and see how's she getting on. Oh, look at her. Oop. Alrighty then. She's not going to get away with trying to say she wasn't part of the replacement conversation or the theorist, because that's all she does is conspiracy theories. Here she is, she's locked in by her own words, she's locked in by her own actions, but she can't even see it because this is not somebody who has a lot of intelligence. She has a lot of ability to act. She is going to backpedal. She's going to try to, even it out. It's not as bad as what it sounds. She's going to keep going the way that she always does. She's trying to weigh out the situation, trying to balance out because she wants to continue with her career. But she's going to speak. She can't help herself. She's just got that motor mouth on her that she likes to talk. And I think the Second Amendment, the gun toting is her way and policy to get through and become, it's money. Ooh. Interesting here now, guys. Interesting. So there's something coming up that she's going to have legal action brought up against her. It's going to have to deal with a lot of people, group, and there's going to be some kind of legal action. Her reputation is going to be on the line. Group of people. Six of Wands. Imagine if that references Six of Wands, January 6th. She's going to have some kind of legal action brought up against her because of something she did with groups. Because wasn't, and I'm not even 100% sure, but didn't she get in trouble for possibly having something to do with doing the tour groups before January 6th or something like that? And I know she tweeted out stuff. Holy moly, guys, I really think that could be the case. Wow. I'm sure we all saw that George Bush had a little bit of a gaffe about Iraq. I just thought we'd just, for a little fun, we'll just throw a few cards and see how George Bush feels. I thought it was interesting that in this time of pretty much 3/4 of the government being in their 70s, that he excused his, faux pas of saying Iraq instead of Ukraine on his age, which I thought was like, So let's have a look, see how he feels about it. How do you feel about it? Oh! Oh, I think he's judge and jury of himself. I think that's pretty accurate for what happened with George Bush. So I thought we'd finish off the reading by having a little tarot talk with John McCain, seeing that he's been brought up in the news recently that Russia has banned him from coming to Russia. So I'm wondering, have they seen him? Like, come on now, Russia, you don't know who's alive or dead that you're going to ban from your country? Like, in how desperate and how ill-informed. I mean, it just makes them look like they don't know what they're doing. So that is an embarrassment. They definitely have egg on their face. But I thought, let's have a look at John McCain. I'd be interested to see how does he feel about not being allowed into Russia. So, Mr. John McCain, how do you feel about not being allowed into Russia? How do you feel about not being allowed into Russia? Well, he sees it as an opportunity to mention his name for people to remember. Oh, John McCain. So he's more or less like, thanks for the mention. So that's how you felt about Russia. How do you feel about your life? How do you feel about the life that you have led? How do you feel about the life you had led? Interesting. He feels like he had to walk away from everything that he built up. I think that, his last vote was the thumbs up, which went against his party. So I think he's proud of that. I think that's something that he feels proud of. Interesting. How do you feel about death? Your actual death. How do you feel about your actual death? The goal is worth the suffering. The goal was worth the suffering. I think he felt that he lived his life by a good moral standard. It might not be your standard, it might not be my standard, but he lived life and did what he felt was correct at any given time, and that in death he found the value of living his life according to his own morality, his own values. Interesting. How do you feel about the Donald Trump and everything that has happened since you've passed away? He desperately thinks that we need justice. There needs to be fairness. I think that he is just like, whoa, guys, America needs to, the pendulum needs to swing the other way, that we're not doing things fairly or clearly. Will the U.S. have some hope and change? Or what do you see for the U.S. in the near future? The Chariot, it basically can go either way. It really depends on, do people get up and speak their truth? Do people get up and and fight for what they believe in, or do they just say, you know what, that's it, what can we do, we're only one person? It really depends on the will of the people and how strongly they feel in it. I really hope that justice is going to be part of that. How does he feel about his daughter Meghan McCain with all the hoopla around her? Look, your child is your child is your child, and he wishes her strength, and he loves her, and he thinks about her, and he does. He is there for her, but he is trying in his own way to try to change her into a different way of thinking, but it's hard to do it. But he is trying, and he's always trying. It's like this infinite, constant trying to get her. So, you know, he loves her. There's no discounting his want and need for her to be everything that she can be, and he is the strength behind her. But I think he's always trying to gently coax her into having a better morality, having a better balanced viewpoint. Seeing that we're asking some questions, I'd be interested to find out from his spiritual perspective, how does he see Roe versus Wade and how it's going to kind of work out in the US? Judgment. So this is basically a case of the past rearing its head into the future. It's like a necessary suffering or a necessary thing to have to review and go through so that people can accept and move on. I think from a spiritual perspective, there is this regeneration of mind and spirit where we will have a greater understanding as time goes on. So we can't judge the current situation as it is, because we need to let the present happen in order to be able to see it for what it was. Does he have any message? Does he have any messages for his immediate family, friends, wife? Ah, so much love being sent out. Love, love, love. All you need is love. Da, 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 da. He is forever there. He is forever with you. It is like we say about energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It has no beginning. It has no end. And this is the way that life is. So there is no missing. This is love expressed to its finest and most wonderful. This is definitely an expression of love. Just a complete want of giving love and strength and sharing and just encompassing, like a big hug is what it is. Like he's sending a big hug of love. And for us, a message for us, what can John McCain tell us? Yeah. I think with the Five of Cups here, it's a message of wait until what you want comes. Don't have regrets in life. Don't not do something. This is all about don't regret life. Don't do things that you know you'll regret. Live life. There's so much to it. Interestingly enough, if I had this card in a relationship type of way, I would say, you know, there's a possibility that someone may come back to you, but if they do, they'll be coming back to you of their own accord. So I feel as though there's this message of everlasting life. When you die, nothing ends. It's just a renewal that you'll return. So maybe this is an indication that he himself, even though he's been passed for a short time, that maybe he is looking at returning and coming back sooner rather than later. Very interesting. That's the amazing thing about energy, because you can be here, your energy when you're sleeping, I mean, or at least I feel like we go off into other spaces and times and have a whole world and experience outside of our daily life. I have one last question for Mr. McCain, seeing that we have a little tarot conversation going with him. What is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of life? The purpose of life is to remain calm in the face of all the unexpected changes and obstacles that you face in life, knowing, being assured 100% that at the end of the day, everything is going to be okay and everything will be worth it. So I guess it's facing your fears and doing it anyway. It's about learning that life is so much more than the petty things that we get ourselves involved in. That in some way, somehow, something is given. For any loss that you feel, it is made up. Again, I think this just illuminates the fact that don't live with regret. Don't be fearful of life. Life is meant to be lived, and you get second chances and third chances and fourth chances and all kinds of chances. So I guess when you're challenged, that's when you find out what's important and what's meaningful. So I guess the meaning of life is down to you and your experiences. And that's what forms your meaning, your opinion. And meanings, that's why everybody has free will and everybody has their own meaning to life. It's not one fits all. Thank you. That was awesome. I enjoyed that. Alrighty. So my YouTube family, that's our reading for tonight. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I appreciate it. Please take time to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. I do read all of them and I appreciate all of them. So please feel free, if there's something you'd like for me to read on, or maybe have a tarot conversation with a dearly departed that we all know, leave it in the comments and I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. So as always, I have our unity candle lit for each and every one of us. And until the next time we chat, my friends, cheerio and take care.